The sea stretches beyond sight, endless and restless, carrying secrets older than memory. Waves rise and fall, their rhythm steady, whispering stories to anyone patient enough to listen. Above, the sky darkens slowly, as if drawing a curtain for a tale that is yet to be told. A hush falls over the horizon, broken only by the call of gulls and the deep breath of the wind. Sailors speak of voices within the storm, voices that do not threaten, but instead beckon gently. They say each storm carries a message, hidden within its thunder, waiting for those who can hear. Far beneath the surface, in halls of coral and light, Poseidon listens with eternal calm. He rules not with wrath, but with balance, guarding the harmony between sea and sky. Yet tonight, something stirs in the deep, a secret rising with the tide and the rolling thunder. The waves swell, not with anger, but with a story that longs to break free from silence. And so begins our journey into the heart of the storm, where truth waits beneath the waves. The ocean is never silent, even in its calmest hour, for its voice is woven into every shifting wave. Each ripple tells a fragment of a story, and each swell carries memories from one shore to another. Travelers often say they hear whispers at night, when the stars shimmer like lanterns above the sea. They believe the waves speak softly, as though carrying messages left behind by unseen hands. One such night unfolds now, with the horizon glowing faintly and the wind brushing gently against sail. A sailor leans upon the edge of his vessel, listening not to the crew, but to the rhythm of the tide. His eyes wander to the distance, where moonlight dances on the water like threads of silver silk. He closes his eyes, and there, within the hush, a whisper begins to form, faint but undeniable. The voice is not frightening, not fierce, but steady, as if carved from the depth of the ocean itself. It carries words without language, yet his heart understands them, as though drawn to an ancient memory. The sailor recalls tales once told in harbor taverns, stories of the sea speaking to those who believe. Old mariners described waves as messengers, carrying secrets too vast to be written in any mortal book. They warned that only the patient and the faithful could truly hear what the ocean yearned to reveal. As he listens, the sailor realizes the sea does not roar tonight. It murmurs with unusual tenderness. The water seems alive, shaping itself into patterns that swirl like script upon an invisible page. He feels as if the waves are reaching out, guiding him toward a truth hidden beyond mortal sight. The rest of the crew slumbers unaware, but his heart beats faster, drawn to the unspoken invitation. He leans closer to the water, and for a fleeting moment, he believes he hears a name whispered. It is a name that belongs not to men, but to gods, ancient and powerful, forever tied to the sea. The sound fades, yet it lingers, echoing within him like the fading glow of a candle in darkness. He recalls a childhood memory of his grandmother pointing to the horizon and speaking of Poseidon. She said the god of the sea watches all who sail, not to punish them, but to weigh their courage. The whisper now feels like a calling, an echo of that tale, as if Poseidon himself had stirred. Thunder rumbles faintly far away, though the sky remains mostly clear, stars scattered in calm stillness. The sailor knows storms often arrive uninvited, yet this sound feels different, more like a warning. He wonders if the sea is urging him to listen deeper, to prepare for what lies ahead unseen. For though the water cradles the ship gently now, its voice carries a current of mystery and promise. The whisper grows softer, fading with the tide, yet leaving behind a sense of purpose in his heart. He understands he is only at the beginning, standing at the threshold of something vast and hidden. The ocean has chosen him, not with thunder or lightning, but with a whisper that touches the soul. And as dawn begins to paint the horizon in gold, he vows to remember every wordless message. For he now believes the waves do not simply break and fade. They carry truths across eternity. The sea is not only water and wind, but a living memory, and he has been invited to listen. The whispers of the waves have spoken, and a journey has begun, one that leads into the unknown. Far below the restless surface, where sunlight fades into endless blue, lies a kingdom carved from coral and stone. Here the sea breathes in silence, yet its silence is alive, filled with the pulse of unseen currents and life. At the heart of this realm sits a throne of pearl, vast and gleaming, resting upon a bed of shifting sand. Upon the throne rests Poseidon, lord of the oceans, master of tides, guardian of the world's hidden depths. His trident stands beside him, not as a weapon, but as a beacon, shaping the balance between wave and wind. Eyes like storm clouds gaze beyond walls of shimmering kelp, seeing far past mortal sails and fragile wood. He watches the surface world with care, neither hostile nor blind, but steady as the tide itself. For every whisper of the waves above is a message to him, and every prayer cast upon the sea is heard. Mortals often imagine his temper as wild, but the truth is deeper, patient, woven with the rhythm of nature. He does not roar without reason, nor stir storms without meaning, for the ocean reflects his measured will. As he sits in his hall, creatures of the deep gather quietly, dolphins, turtles, and shimmering schools of fish. They circle him as if drawn by unseen harmony, moving with grace around their eternal sovereign. Above, a faint rumble echoes, a storm beginning its slow birth beyond the horizon of mortal sight. Poseidon tilts his head, listening to the tremor not as a threat, but as a note in an endless song. For storms to him are voices, each carrying meaning, each revealing truths woven into thunder and rain. He knows when storms rise in anger, and he knows when storms are gentle messengers of change and renewal. This storm is different, quieter in its heart, carrying a secret not yet ready to surface fully. He studies its rhythm carefully, reading it as one might read letters upon an ancient scroll. The god's gaze lingers on the mortal sailor, still leaning at his ship's edge, listening to the sea. Poseidon feels the stir of destiny, a thread connecting ocean's whisper to that single beating heart. He does not smile, yet there is softness in his silence, as though he approves of what has begun. The sea is wide and full of wanderers, yet not all can hear when the waves choose to speak. This sailor, unknown to his crew, has been touched by the rhythm, attuned to the ocean's secret voice. Poseidon considers this quietly, knowing the sailor's courage will be tested in ways unseen by mortal eyes. The storm will be his passage, not of destruction, but of revelation, guiding him toward hidden truth. Around the throne, water stirs gently, glowing faintly as if touched by moonlight beneath the sea itself. The temple walls shimmer, ancient murals shifting with every ripple, telling tales of tides and forgotten eras. In one mural, mortals stand before the sea, uncertain yet hopeful, waiting for a wisdom from beyond the waves. Poseidon has seen such moments countless times, yet each one carries new weight, as though destiny renews itself. The storm's secret lies not in fury, but in balance, and in the harmony between fear and trust. Above, winds gather slowly, clouds painting the sky in shades of gray, while gulls retreat to safer shores. Yet deep below, the god of the sea sits calm, knowing that what rises soon will shape more than weather. For every storm carries a story, and this one will unveil a truth long hidden beneath layers of time. Poseidon waits, watchful and patient, his gaze fixed on the fragile ship and the mortal chosen to listen. The sea holds many secrets, but not all remain hidden, and soon this one will break into the light. And as the current hums around his throne, the god knows the journey has already begun, above and below. Far below the restless surface, where sunlight fades into endless blue, lies a kingdom carved from coral and stone. Here the sea breathes in silence, yet its silence is alive, filled with the pulse of unseen currents and life. At the heart of this realm sits a throne of pearl, vast and gleaming, resting upon a bed of shifting sand. Upon the throne rests Poseidon, lord of the oceans, master of tides, guardian of the world's hidden depths. His trident stands beside him, not as a weapon, but as a beacon, shaping the balance between wave and wind. Eyes like storm clouds gaze beyond walls of shimmering kelp, seeing far past mortal sails and fragile wood. He watches the surface world with care, neither hostile nor blind, but steady as the tide itself. For every whisper of the waves above is a message to him, and every prayer cast upon the sea is heard. Mortals often imagine his temper as wild, but the truth is deeper, patient, woven with the rhythm of nature. He does not roar without reason, nor stir storms without meaning, for the ocean reflects his measured will. As he sits in his hall, creatures of the deep gather quietly. Dolphins, turtles, and shimmering schools of fish. They circle him as if drawn by unseen harmony, moving with grace around their eternal sovereign. Above, a faint rumble echoes, a storm beginning its slow birth beyond the horizon of mortal sight. Poseidon tilts his head, listening to the tremor, not as a threat, but as a note in an endless song. For storms to him are voices, each carrying meaning, each revealing truths woven into thunder and rain. He knows when storms rise in anger, and he knows when storms are gentle messengers of change and renewal. This storm is different, quieter in its heart, carrying a secret not yet ready to surface fully. He studies its rhythm carefully, reading it as one might read letters upon an ancient scroll. The god's gaze lingers on the mortal sailor, still leaning at his ship's edge, listening to the sea. Poseidon feels the stir of destiny, a thread connecting ocean's whisper to that single beating heart. He does not smile, yet there is softness in his silence, as though he approves of what has begun. The sea is wide and full of wanderers, yet not all can hear when the waves choose to speak. This sailor, unknown to his crew, has been touched by the rhythm, attuned to the ocean's secret voice. Poseidon considers this quietly, knowing the sailor's courage will be tested in ways unseen by mortal eyes. The storm will be his passage, not of destruction, but of revelation, guiding him toward hidden truth. Around the throne, water stirs gently, glowing faintly as if touched by moonlight beneath the sea itself. The temple walls shimmer, ancient murals shifting with every ripple, telling tales of tides and forgotten eras. In one mural, mortals stand before the sea, uncertain yet hopeful, waiting for wisdom from beyond the waves. Poseidon has seen such moments countless times, yet each one carries new weight, as though destiny renews itself. The storm's secret lies not in fury, but in balance, and in the harmony between fear and trust. Above, winds gather slowly, clouds painting the sky in shades of gray, while gulls retreat to safer shores. Yet deep below, the god of the sea sits calm, knowing that what rises soon will shape more than weather. For every storm carries a story, and this one will unveil a truth long hidden beneath layers of time. Poseidon waits, watchful and patient, his gaze fixed on the fragile ship, and the mortal chosen to listen. The sea holds many secrets, but not all remain hidden, and soon this one will break into the light. And as the current hums around his throne, the god knows the journey has already begun, above and below. In a quiet coastal village, where waves kiss the shore and gulls circle lazily, an old chest is unearthed. It lies beneath the floor of a forgotten hut, buried in sand and salt, sealed with rusted iron bands. Children gather around with wide eyes as fishermen pry it open, the wood groaning with the weight of years. Inside, among broken ropes and brittle parchment, rests a map, its lines faded, but still shimmering faintly. The paper smells of the sea, damp and ancient, carrying the scent of voyages long since lost to time. Whispers spread quickly through the village, each voice adding wonder, fear, or disbelief to the discovery. Some say the map is cursed, drawn by sailors who vanished into storms and never returned to tell their tale. Others believe it is a gift, a relic meant to guide chosen hearts to secrets the ocean hides away. One sailor, the same who once heard the whisper of the waves, feels the pull of destiny within him. He steps forward, hands trembling slightly, as though the map itself is calling to him with silent urgency. The parchment is fragile, yet its ink glows faintly in moonlight, forming symbols of waves, stars, and thunder. At its center lies a spiral, marked with Poseidon's trident, etched boldly as if carved into the fibers. The spiral seems to shift when touched, as though alive, bending lines to guide the eye toward the sea. The sailor studies it, heart racing, knowing this is no ordinary map, but a path written by divine hands. The villagers murmur behind him, torn between awe and caution, warning him not to tempt the sea's wrath. Yet the sailor remembers the whisper, soft and steady, urging him forward into mystery rather than away. He feels certain the map is not a curse, but an invitation, a door to truth hidden in storm's heart. By lantern light, he spreads the map across the table, tracing its markings with care and reverence. Each line glows softly under his touch, as though recognizing his spirit, responding to his quiet determination. The map shows not distance or landmarks alone, but currents, winds, and paths through waters no sailor dares. It tells of an island that shifts with tides, sometimes visible, sometimes gone, hidden by Poseidon's design. The sailor recalls stories of that island, whispered by elders, a place where gods left gifts for mortals. The trident symbol marks its location, yet around it, spiral storms, drawn in intricate circles of cloud. It is clear. The way to truth lies through the storm, not around it, and only courage can unlock it. The sailor feels the weight of choice, yet within him grows a calm, the same calm the ocean once gave. He decides then and there to follow it, not for glory, but for the wisdom promised by the waves. That night, he rolls the map gently, tying it with worn rope, placing it close to his heart as he sleeps. Dreams rise within him of glowing seas, of voices singing from deep, and of a temple shining in silence. He wakes with resolve, ready to share the discovery with his crew, though doubt may shadow their eyes. The sea calls to him, not with rage, but with mystery, its song louder than ever before in his soul. The map is no ordinary parchment, but a bridge, linking mortal longing to divine secret across the tide. And though the villagers whisper warnings, the sailor knows the truth cannot be silenced once revealed. For in the folds of that fragile map lies a path not to treasure of gold, but to a storm's secret. And with each heartbeat, the sailor feels the ocean waiting, watching, ready to test his spirit on the waves. The sea is calm at dawn, yet within its quiet surface lingers a song, faint and delicate, like drifting mist. The sailor wakes early, holding the map close, its lines glowing faintly as if alive beneath his steady hands. He steps onto the deck, eyes scanning the horizon, but his ears catch something softer than the waves. It is music, rising and falling like the tide, weaving through the morning air with haunting sweetness. The sound comes not from gulls nor crew, but from the sea itself, carrying voices shaped of pure melody. The sailor leans forward, listening closer, his heart tightening with wonder at the beauty he cannot explain. From the foam at the water's edge, figures emerge, shimmering with light as dawn touches their flowing hair. They are nymphs, daughters of the ocean, their presence both gentle and unearthly, glowing like pearls in sun. Their song is wordless at first, a lullaby of currents and tides, wrapping the sailor in its calm embrace. Then the melody shapes into riddles, each phrase heavy with meaning, each note a key to hidden truth. "O sailor," they sing, "the storm is not your enemy, but a gate, a door between mortal sight and divine." Their voices twine like rivers, flowing together, each one echoing across the waves with perfect harmony. Follow the path not by fear, but by heart, for only courage opens what lightning and thunder guard. The sailor listens in awe, feeling the words sink deep into his spirit, like roots clinging to fertile soil. The crew stirs awake, bewildered by the sight, whispering prayers and crossing themselves against sea magic. Yet the sailor feels no fear, only certainty, for the nymph's song is not threat, but blessing in disguise. One nymph glides closer, her eyes shining like moonlight, her voice softer as she addresses him alone. "Your map will guide, but only your spirit can unlock the spiral, the heart of the storm's secret." She lifts her hand, and water rises in graceful shapes, forming symbols that match the map's glowing lines. The sailor recognizes them instantly, currents, winds, and stars, each one a step along the hidden path. The nymphs circle the ship with ease, their song weaving around mast and sail like ribbons of light. "Remember," they sing, "the sea does not test the strong arms alone, but the steady heart that listens." The sailor bows his head in silent promise, for he knows now the storm will measure not skill, but faith. The nymphs' voices swell together once more, carrying words that ripple like waves across an unseen shore. Seek the eye of the storm, where silence lives, where time stands still and truth is carved in light. The sailor feels his chest tighten, a mixture of awe and resolve. For the path is clear though perilous. He clutches the map closer, understanding now that it is not merely drawn, but sung into existence. The crew murmurs in fear, yet the sailor speaks gently, urging them to trust, to listen, to believe. The nymphs smile faintly, fading back into the sea, their song lingering like the echo of distant bells. The water closes behind them, leaving only ripples, yet the melody remains, etched in the sailor's memory. He knows he's been given guidance, not in steel or treasure, but in wisdom wrapped within a song. The storm no longer feels like a threat, but a destination, a riddle he has been chosen to solve. As the ship sails onward, the sailor feels lighter, as though the ocean itself has welcomed him as kin. The map glows brighter in his hands, and the words of the nymphs resound within him with every breath. For now he understands. The sea's secret is not hidden in fear, but revealed in harmony and trust. And with the song still echoing in his soul, the sailor prepares to face the gathering storm ahead. The day grows heavy as the ship sails deeper into unknown waters, the horizon painted in restless gray. The sailor holds the glowing map close, its light flickering like a heartbeat in rhythm with the waves. The crew murmurs in hushed tones, uneasy after the vision of the sea nymphs that bless their course. Though fear lingers, hope also stirs, for the sailor speaks calmly, guiding them with quiet determination. The wind shifts with sudden force, filling the sails, driving the vessel toward darker skies ahead. Clouds gather thick and slow, pressing low over the sea, a ceiling of shadow above rolling waters. Lightning flickers faintly in the distance, not yet fierce, but whispering of power waiting to awaken. The sailor feels the weight of prophecy, every step upon the deck carrying him closer to the unknown. He recalls the nymphs' words, each note of their song etched into his mind like fire on stone. "The storm is a gate," he whispers, testing the truth upon his tongue, feeling courage rise within. The crew glances toward him, hearing the calm in his voice, drawing strength from his unshaken spirit. The ship creaks as waves begin to swell, lifting and lowering it in long, rolling breaths of the ocean. Gulls vanish from the sky, and even the fish below retreat, sensing the power stirring in the deep. The sailor studies the map once more, tracing glowing lines that shift like currents beneath his touch. The spiral drawn at its center pulses faintly, pointing toward the heart of the coming tempest. He knows this is not mere weather, but a test woven by the will of gods beyond mortal reach. Still, he does not falter, for the map and the melody guide him, carrying him toward hidden truth. The crew gathers, eyes wide with worry, voices rising in questions of what lies ahead. The sailor speaks, "Trust the sea, for it will not betray us if we listen and remain unafraid." His words steady them, though doubt lingers, and together they prepare the ship for what must come. Ropes are tightened, sails adjusted, and prayers whispered into the wind for safe passage. As the first thunder rolls across the horizon, the sailor closes his eyes, listening to its deep call. It is not anger he hears, but warning, a voice vast and ancient, woven into the language of storms. The wind sharpens, whipping across the deck, carrying salt and spray like scattered silver shards. The ship tilts and groans, yet moves forward, guided by the glowing path upon the sailor's map. Every heartbeat feels heavier, every breath drawn like a vow to continue, no matter what awaits. The horizon darkens fully now, black clouds rising like towers, alive with flickers of hidden light. The sailor grips the railing, his gaze steady, seeing not only danger, but destiny in the gathering fury. The nymph's song echoes faintly in his memory, reminding him of the promise that lies within. He whispers to the sea, a prayer of trust, knowing Poseidon himself may be watching their journey. The crew falls silent, each man and woman turning inward, waiting for the storm's hand to fall. Yet amidst the rising dread, the sailor feels peace, for he knows this trial is meant to be faced. The sea surges higher, the sky rumbles, and the world seems to hold its breath in waiting. At last, as the first bolt of lightning strikes, the sailor lifts his eyes and smiles. For he understands. The storm is not only danger, but the threshold to the secret he seeks. The storm awakens in full force, its voice booming across the heavens, shaking the sea with furious rhythm. Waves rise like mountains, their peaks foaming white, crashing down with power that rattles the ship's frame. The sails strain under the wind, snapping like thunder. Yet the vessel pushes onward into the growing chaos. The sailor grips the wheel, eyes fixed ahead, his knuckles white, but his spirit steady and unbroken. The map glows brighter, its spiral shimmering with every flash of lightning, guiding him toward the heart. The crew shouts to one another, their voices torn by the gale, yet they follow their captain's calm resolve. The storm does not strike at random, but as if alive, shaping walls of water to test their strength. Each wave is a question, each gust of wind a challenge, and the sailor answers with courage and focus. He feels the sea beneath him, not as enemy, but as teacher, pushing him toward something greater. The lightning forks across the sky, silver rivers splitting clouds, illuminating the endless fury of the storm. Thunder answers, deep and unyielding, like the voice of a god speaking through the air itself. The sailor whispers beneath the roar, "I hear you, I follow. I will not turn away." The ship climbs a towering wave, pausing at its crest before plunging downward into a valley of shadow. The crew clings to ropes and rails, their hearts pounding, yet still the vessel holds steady. The sailor feels the nymph's song stirring within him, guiding his hands as if the wheel were alive. He knows this storm is more than weather. It is a passage, a living gate forged of wind and water. The map thrums with light, its lines pulsing in rhythm with the thunder, marking their path true. The sailor senses eyes upon him, vast and unseen, as though the ocean itself is watching his every move. The sea roars, the wind screams, yet beneath the fury lies an invitation, silent and undeniable. He lifts his face to the rain, letting the storm wash over him, embracing its challenge without fear. The crew begins to notice his calm, their terror softening, their faith rising like the tide. "Hold steady," he calls, his voice cutting through the storm, strong as steel, certain as destiny. The ship surges forward, cutting through the towering waves, a lone flame of will against the tempest. For hours they battle, the world reduced to water and sky, fury and resolve locked together. At last the map shifts, its spiral widening, pointing straight into the darkest heart of the storm. The sailor feels a pull deep within, a force calling him not to resist, but to enter. "Through, not around," he breathes. And the ship answers, drawn forward as if the sea itself agrees. The clouds twist above, forming a vast circle, a tunnel of wind and rain leading into shadow. Lightning frames its edges, marking the boundary between mortal waters and the unknown beyond. The sailor steadies the wheel, guiding his vessel into the spiral, into the storm's secret heart. The crew falls silent, bracing themselves, knowing they sail not only through danger, but through destiny. The storm howls one final time, then opens before them, a path carved by the will of gods. And with unshaken resolve, the sailor drives the ship forward into the mystery that awaits within. The ship pierces the wall of storm, and suddenly the world shifts, as if they have entered another realm. Rain softens into mist, the thunder fades, and the sea lies calm as glass beneath an eerie stillness. The crew stares wide-eyed, their voices hushed, for they expected fury, yet found silence deep as sleep. The sailor grips the wheel tighter, his breath slow, sensing that they stand inside the storm's hidden heart. Above, the sky spirals in vast circles, clouds turning like gears, glowing faintly with inner light. The air hums with quiet power, a resonance that seems to speak without words, felt in the bones. The map pulses brightly, the spiral at its center now matching the swirling heavens overhead. The sailor whispers, "This is the gate." And the crew shivers, for his voice echoes strangely in the calm. No wind stirs the sails, yet the ship glides forward, carried by unseen currents into the center. There, rising from the sea, stands an island unlike any charted, born of storm and silence alike. Its cliffs gleam with crystal, its trees shimmer silver, and its shores glow faintly as though alive. The crew falls to murmurs, torn between awe and dread, unsure if they gaze upon paradise or trap. The sailor steps forward, his heart steady, knowing the map and the nymphs have guided him to this place. He orders the anchor dropped, and the ship rests in waters so clear the stars reflect beneath the hull. The crew lowers a small boat, and the sailor climbs in, holding the glowing map close to his chest. The silence deepens as he rows, each stroke sending ripples that echo louder than thunder once did. At last, he reaches the shore, where sand glitters like powdered pearl, warm and soft beneath his boots. The island hums with life unseen, voices hidden in leaves, whispers carried upon the still air. He walks forward, following the map's light, which glows brighter with each step upon the shore. Strange symbols are carved into the rocks, spirals and waves that mirror the drawings on the map. The sailor touches one, and it responds with warmth, as though the stone itself remembers him. The crew lingers behind, unwilling to step further, their fear holding them at the edge of mystery. But the sailor presses on alone, guided by faith, his path lit not by sun, but by the map's glow. He enters a grove where silver leaves glisten, and the air is thick with the scent of salt and rain. At its center stands a pool of water, calm and dark, reflecting the sky's spiral overhead. The map burns with light in his hands, its lines aligning perfectly with the reflection in the pool. Kneeling, the sailor whispers a vow. I seek not power, but truth, and I will follow where it leads. The pool responds, its surface rippling outward, light rising until it glows like a living star. A voice emerges, low and resonant, neither male nor female, but vast as the ocean itself. You have entered the heart of the storm, it says, and here lies the secret, hidden from mortal eyes. The sailor bows his head, humbled yet unafraid, knowing he has reached the threshold of revelation. The air thickens with presence, the island alive, as though Poseidon himself is near, watching close. The crew waits upon the shore, trembling, while the sailor alone prepares to receive what comes. And in that stillness, the secret of the storm begins to unveil. Wrapped in light and ancient song, the pool glows brighter, its light swirling like a star trapped in water, pulsing with ancient rhythm and power. The sailor kneels, his reflection shifting until it is not his face, but an endless sea staring back. The voice speaks again, calm yet vast, carrying both the weight of tide and the stillness of deep. Mortal seeker, you have crossed the threshold, not for treasure, but for truth that binds sea and sky. The sailor bows, his hand clutching the map, which hums with energy as though it recognizes the voice. The crew at the shore watches in silence, their fear battling awe, unable to step closer to the light. The voice continues, each word like a wave rolling across eternity, steady and unbroken. The storm is not chaos, but balance. It is the breath of the ocean, the heartbeat of creation itself. The sailor feels the meaning pour into him, more than sound, a truth etched into the marrow of his being. The secret you seek is not power to command, but wisdom to understand. Few dare to accept it. The pool ripples, revealing images within its depths. Storms rising, waves crashing, ships lost to the deep. Yet within each vision lies renewal. Islands born, rivers reshaped, life flourishing in the wake of fury. The sailor whispers, destruction is not the end, but the beginning, his voice trembling with awe. The voice answers, yes, the storm clears, reshapes, and renews, and in its cycle lies the eternal law. The map in his hand shifts, its glowing lines rearranging into a new form, more intricate and alive. It no longer charts mere waters, but currents of fate, paths unseen that weave sea, sky, and soul. The sailor understands now. This was never a guide to treasure, but a key to perceiving hidden order. The crew cries out as the ground trembles, the island shuddering with power, as if awakened fully. The sailor remains still, calm amid the shaking, for he knows this is part of the revelation's test. The voice grows softer now, intimate and direct, as if speaking not to all, but to him alone. You are chosen not because you command, but because you listen. The sea favors those who hear. The sailor lowers his head, humbled, whispering, I will bear this truth and honor its wisdom always. The pool flares with light, enveloping him, and for a moment he feels both weightless and infinite. He sees visions, Poseidon's trident striking the sea, storms forming like thoughts, waves moving with will. He glimpses sailors long past, lost to pride or fear, unable to see the gift hidden in the storm. And then he sees himself, not as a lone man, but as part of the endless current of life's tide. The light fades slowly, the pool returning to calm, though its surface glows faintly like a star. The sailor rises, the map now warm in his hand, its glow steady, its spiral complete. The crew rushes forward, relief flooding their faces. For though they know not what passed, they feel peace. The sailor speaks softly. The storm is no enemy, but the sea's secret voice. We have been shown the truth. The island grows quiet again, its hum fading as if it has given all it was meant to reveal. The sailor looks to the horizon, knowing their journey is not ended, but forever changed. And with the wisdom of the storm burning in his soul, he prepares to guide his people back to sea. The dawn breaks gently, painting the horizon with gold, as the sea lies calm after its night of revelations. The sailor stands at the shore, the glowing map in his hand. Its light softer now, yet steady and true. The crew gathers near him, their eyes filled with questions, their hearts waiting for the story he carried. He speaks quietly, yet his words hold the weight of the tide, steady and unshakable. The storm is not our enemy. It is the sea's voice, shaping and guiding, whispering truths through thunder. The crew listens, some nodding slowly, some wide-eyed, all sensing that they stand on the edge of change. The map flares faintly and its lines shift again, showing currents stretching far beyond their known world. It does not point to gold or jewels, but to waters unexplored, realms hidden within the sea's embrace. One sailor asks, Captain, where does it lead us now? His voice trembles between fear and wonder. The leader gazes at the glowing spiral, seeing not a path, but a promise woven into its design. It leads us forward, beyond fear, into the unknown, where the storm's wisdom will guide our sails. The sea responds with a soft murmur, as if agreeing, its waves brushing the sand like a gentle vow. The crew prepares their vessel, their hands steady now, no longer trembling at the thought of the storm. They hoist the sails, the fabric catching wind that feels lighter, as though blessed by unseen hands. The sailor grips the wheel, feeling the pull of fate, his heart aligned with the sea's eternal rhythm. As they depart the island, its glow fades behind them, returning to silence, its secret now passed on. The journey ahead is vast, the horizon endless, yet none feel lost, for they carry a truth within. The storm clouds gather faintly above, not with menace, but with a steady presence, like guardians. The sailor whispers, "We are not alone. The sea travels with us, and its voice will never fade. That night, the stars scatter across the sky. The crew sleeps in peace, their fear replaced by calm. The sailor keeps watch, the map glowing softly at his side, its spiral alive with unseen currents. He remembers the voice within the pool, its words etched deeper than memory, clear as the tide. You are chosen not because you command, but because you listen. The sea favors those who hear. He repeats the words softly, like a prayer, a promise carried on the salt wind and the rolling waves. The ship glides forward, each creak and groan of wood sounding like part of a greater song. The storm rises on the horizon, dark and vast. Yet it does not frighten him. It feels like home. He sees lightning flicker, not as threat, but as beacon, guiding them toward waters yet untold. The crew wakes to the thunder's voice, but no one cowers, for now they know its deeper meaning. The storm surrounds them, waves lifting the ship high, then lowering it gently like breath itself. Rain lashes the deck, yet it feels cleansing, each drop carrying the promise of renewal and strength. The sailor closes his eyes, hearing the storm's secret not as noise, but as music of eternity. He knows then that their voyage will never truly end, for the sea's truth is a path without end. And as dawn returns once more, brighter than before, they sail onward, guided by the storm's song. The horizon glows with the warmth of dawn, the sea stretching endless and calm, like a promise renewed each day. The sailor stands at the bow, his gaze fixed on waters uncharted, yet his heart no longer trembles with doubt. The map rests beside him, its glow softer now, a quiet companion that hums with unseen wisdom and light. The crew works with steady hands, their laughter rising with the wind, carried across waves that no longer threaten. They have learned that storms are not curses, but guides, voices that shape the journey, not end it. The sailor closes his eyes, remembering the pool of light, the voice that spoke as deep as eternity. You are chosen not because you command, but because you listen. The sea favors those who hear. These words linger, shaping each choice, each moment, reminding him that leadership begins in humility. The storm clouds rise again in the distance, but now they inspire awe instead of fear among the crew. They see the lightning as torchlight, the thunder as song, the rain as blessing upon their sails. The ship crests a great wave, then glides down with grace, as though carried by Poseidon's own hand. The sailor whispers a vow into the wind, promising to honor the secret he now carries in his soul. No treasure could match this gift. No gold could weigh against the wisdom hidden within the storm. The journey continues, but the burden feels light, for each mile sailed is guided by truth, not chance. He looks at his crew, their faces glowing with hope. Their trust is steady as the stars above. They are no longer wanderers lost at sea, but seekers walking a path drawn by Idai and thunder. The sailor lifts the map once more, watching its spiral gleam, endless, eternal, yet guiding with care. It is not a path to an end, but a song to be followed, each note carried on the waves. The storm swells on the horizon, its voice calling, its secret now understood as gift, not burden. The sailor grips the wheel, smiling as he steers toward it, his spirit calm as the sea itself. The crew sings as they sail, their voices rising with the wind, blending with the song of the storm. Night falls, and the stars burn brighter than ever, each one mirrored on the waves like guiding beacons. The sailor feels the sea's presence, vast and eternal, yet close enough to touch, with every breath he takes. He knows now that Poseidon is not only a god of power, but a keeper of balance and truth. The secret of the storm is not about conquest, but harmony, the endless dance of creation and renewal. As the ship disappears into the horizon, its sails lit by dawn's glow, the story finds its quiet close. But the sea continues to sing, carrying whispers of its secret to those who dare to listen deeply. And somewhere beyond the clouds, Poseidon watches, his gaze steady, knowing his truth has found new keepers. The storm rises once more, eternal and unbroken, not as an end, but as the beginning of all journeys. And so the tale concludes, not with silence, but with a song carried forever across the endless sea.